hi, I'm Jared Blumenfeld. I'm the director of the San Francisco Department of the Environment. We're a government agency at the local level who's charged with protecting the environment for all of San Francisco. And we're a city department. We have about 70 people. We do everything from recycling to climate change, energy efficiency, renewable energy. We're looking at tidal power under the Golden Gate Bridge, wave power, wind power. We deal with issues of reducing the amount of toxics in everything from light bulbs to children's toys. We deal with the urban forest and even with school kids. Yeah, we visit with 25,000 school children each year, and one of the big programs that we have there is called Food to Flowers. So we get the school lunch that the kids don't eat and we turn it into compost, and then we bring the compost back to the school and they turn it into little gardens where they grow vegetables. He's our zero waste expert.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
The San Francisco Board of Supervisors and Mayor have officially adopted a policy of zero waste. And what that means is a goal of diverting zero waste to landfill, and with a date set by 2020. And there's an interim date to achieve 75% waste diversion from landfill by 2010. Well, for 2006, we have documented a waste diversion of 70%. So we are now at 70% waste diversion, and with our continued aggressive programs, we believe we can get to 75% waste diversion by 2010, and zero waste will be much more difficult. But our zero waste policy is an important framework that allows us to push for a more sustainable material economy. And how we do that is through aggressive recycling programs, source separated recycling programs, where residents and businesses separate out a variety of recycled materials, all types of paper and containers, for example, including all types of plastics, put it into a single bin that gets sorted at a material recovery facility for markets that are both domestic and international. And then we have, that's a blue bin, we're color-coded program. And then we have a green bin that's for all compostable waste. That includes not only plant trimmings, garden trimmings, but also all types of food, all food waste, as well as food soil paper. And then we have a third bin, which is a residual going to the landfill that are materials that are not currently recyclable or compostable. With full participation in programs right now, we could be at over 85% diversion towards 90% diversion. So for us, we've already developed the programs and the infrastructure to get us to 85 to 90%. We need to mandate participation, and we're working on that now. Our primary partnership is with the NorCal waste companies, and they do the collection, the recycling, sorting, the composting, and the marketing of those materials. And so it's in a combination of working with them, with outreach, with education, and then also as a city agency, we look at the policies that are needed to help us move towards zero waste. And part of a zero waste policy is promoting the highest and best use of materials, so we look at how we can encourage that, and also requiring greater consumer as well as producer responsibility. An example of consumer responsibility is mandating participation, which we're working on, but it's also buying recycled products and being more wise in their purchasing. And producer responsibility is about getting producers to produce products that are recyclable, that are compostable, that are made out of recycled materials, that are made out of compostable materials. And examples of that that your viewers may have heard about, even as far away as Italy, is that we've banned plastic bags to be given out at the grocery stores, starting with our large grocery stores and then going to the pharmacies, and saying that you can't give out a typical plastic bag. It has to be a recyclable paper bag, a certified compostable plastic bag, or a reusable bag. We've also required that our restaurants and other takeout establishments only provide for takeout containers, carry-out containers, containers that are compostable or recyclable as accepted in our programs. And so that's resulted in banning all the polystyrene foam or styrofoam type containers. So those are some of the examples of the policies that we pursue that help, and the reason that we can pursue that is that we've adopted this broader policy framework of zero waste, which is really setting a path, a direction. So even if we don't get to 100% diversion by 2020, we want to continue to strive to recover for beneficial use as much material as possible, and to reduce that material that would go to landfill that would be a complete waste of resources. And we don't support incineration either, because we see that as burning valuable resources. There's a tremendous amount of energy and resources as well as waste produced in the production of products, in the life cycle of a product, upstream to when you have it that the public is using and throwing away. And for every ton of material that we deal with at the city level, 70 tons of waste have been produced upstream. We call that what we deal with at the municipal level, just the tip of the wasteberg of everything that's involved in producing those products and that waste. So by recycling, reducing waste, we actually save all those resources, which is much more resource savings than the energy we get from burning the waste. Because when you burn waste, you are burning raw materials that go into that waste. And so that is not a renewable form of energy. It's not a sustainable form of energy. And it has significant climate impacts in terms of requiring all the resources to go in to deliver that waste. And for us, climate change impacts, reducing greenhouse gas, is also an important framework that we are working with, and it's part of the reason that we have our zero waste goal is to reduce our climate change impact. And an example of that, at the landfill, when you have organics, particularly food going in, it generates methane, and methane is a very potent greenhouse gas, at least 23 times worse than carbon dioxide. So by diverting organics out of the landfill, returning that organic material to the soil for healthy, sustainable agriculture and plants, then we have the benefit of reducing greenhouse gas as well as sustainable local food production and numerous other benefits, including local jobs in the economy. We believe that local jurisdictions like San Francisco and throughout the world can recycle and compost a lot more than they are. We've achieved 70% diversion through source-separated recycling and composting, but we believe we can go even further because we look at the waste stream and we see that 85 to 90% of it can be recycled and composted. And if we work with producers to encourage them to make more recyclable and compostable products, even a higher percentage of it. So that is going to be more environmentally sound than, say, pursuing burning. The problem with incineration is that these are very expensive facilities, in the hundreds of millions of dollars typically. In order for them to be the most economical, they have to be very large. And in order to be able to justify the investment in incineration, they require a consistent flow of waste from potentially a large area to be able to feed it. And once you have built that plant and made the investment, then you have to feed the incinerator with a lot of waste. And by feeding that hundreds of tons or more a day, that material, you are not able to recycle or compost that material because typically a contract with that incinerator will require that amount of waste. And some incinerator companies won't let you develop any more recycling and composting. So some people say, well, let's recycle and compost as much as possible, then incinerate, but nobody has gotten to near the potential that they can. And as soon as you make that huge investment in a very capital-intensive incinerator, you preclude the ability, you put a ceiling on how much you can recycle and compost. So we believe one should develop programs to maximize recycling and composting on a source separation basis. And then there's technologies to take the mixed waste and to further sort that mixed waste for recycling and composting. And if you get to the point where you have a small amount of residual, then maybe you can look at burning that, but that becomes a very small amount of waste. And typically the capital cost of these facilities is such that they need to be so large to justify them. So we just don't see that, as compatible, for us in the near term.
Great.
you so much.